once upon a time, in a land where the grass was green, the skies were blue, and the winds whispered of future greatness, there lived a man named Nandi. Nandi had a special future ahead of him. You see, it was foretold by an ancient oracle that Nandi would one day become a great king. But here's the twist. This is the story of how he went from future king to, well, let's just say a different kind of ruler. Nandi, you are destined for greatness. You will rise above all, and your name will be known far and wide. You will become a ruler of lands, a king among kings. Your reign will be prosperous and filled with glory. Imagine the scene. The whole village chanting his name. Nandi grinning ear to ear as if he were already wearing the crown. His future seemed set. There was no doubt about it. Nandi was going to be a king. After all, the prophecy had spoken. And what could possibly go wrong? Now, let's fast forward a few years. Nandi's future has arrived. He's older, wiser. Well, not exactly wiser, but older for sure. And instead of doing anything to earn his greatness, Nandi lounges in the village square, watching others hustle. He doesn't lift a finger to help with building, farming, or even trading. Why should he? He was destined for a grand future. Kings don't work in the fields, right? Opportunities to work hard? Meh. Nandi wasn't interested. He thought, I'm going to be a king one day, why bother doing all these mundane things? So he continued his life of relaxation, his grand kingdom growing ever more distant. But there was one problem. Life wasn't waiting for Nandi to be king. Life was moving forward, and it was going to leave him behind. As the seasons changed, so did the village. People who had once been struggling, like Nandi's friends, began to thrive. Some had started businesses, others had built families, and a few had even managed to buy land. They had worked hard, faced failure, and learned lessons along the way. But Nandi, well, he was still lying in his hammock, waiting for greatness to knock on his door. The problem: the door wasn't going to open unless he did something to knock on it first. One evening, Nandi sat in the local tavern, overhearing his friends chat about their successes. One had just bought a large plot of land and started a farm. Another had begun a successful trading business. And the third was leading a group of builders who were renovating houses around the village. All three of them had made something of themselves, taking action, failing and succeeding in turn. And in that moment, Nandi realized something. He was the one who was left behind. His friends hadn't waited for destiny to make them kings. They had built their own kingdoms with hard work, perseverance, and a willingness to face challenges head-on. But Nandi, he had been waiting for the crown to fall out of the sky. The truth hit him harder than he could have imagined. You cannot wait for greatness. You must create it. You seem troubled, young man. Your eyes reflect a man who has waited for something that hasn't come, right? The old man, with his graying beard and eyes full of wisdom, saw right through Nandi's confusion. The old man didn't just ask questions. He shared the truth that Nandi had been avoiding for years. Destiny doesn't arrive by waiting. You must move toward it. Take action. Be willing to fall and get back up. Every king must first serve in the fields, in the shadows, before he can wear a crown. Do not wait for the world to hand you everything, Nandi. You must build it. In that moment, something changed inside Nandi. It wasn't a grand epiphany. It wasn't a magic revelation. It was simple. The truth was clear. If you don't show up, greatness won't show up either. Nandi realized that while the prophecy had spoken of his future, it didn't say when it would happen or how. But it was clear now, if he wanted to be the king of his own life, he had to start acting like one. So Nandi got to work. He started helping his friends. He learned new skills. He started small. But with each new task, he felt more alive. He was no longer waiting for destiny. He was taking the reins himself. Whether it was fixing a roof, helping plant crops, or learning the basics of trading, Nandi began to make himself indispensable to his village. Little by little, he earned respect again, not because he had been destined to be king, but because he was doing the work necessary to build his own future. As the years passed, Nandi's hard work began to pay off. He had started his own business, a small trading post. He had bought a plot of land, and with time, built his own home. He was no longer the lazy dreamer waiting for a crown. He had built a kingdom, a life full of purpose, hard-earned respect, and a growing sense of pride. Nandi had discovered the most important lesson of all. Greatness isn't handed to you, it's something you create. And while Nandi never became a king in the way he had once imagined, he became something far more powerful, a man who built his own kingdom. He was no longer waiting for the prophecy to come true. He had created his own destiny. One day at a time, one choice at a time. And the greatest lesson he learned, the one that all of us must learn, is this: don't wait for greatness to come knocking. Go out and build it yourself. Time has a curious way of unraveling truth. When Nandi was a boy, he believed greatness would arrive like thunder, sudden, loud, unmissable. He pictured divine chariots, glowing crowns, and applause from invisible gods. But destiny does not shout. It whispers, and only the patient, the humble, and the brave can hear it. Nandi once lay beneath the stars, demanding the world to notice him. Now he walks among his people, not as a ruler carved in marble, but as a builder, a brother, a son of the soil. This is not the story of a crown delivered. It is the story of a crown earned. Brick by brick, wound by wound, step by aching step. There comes a moment, silent and unceremonious, when a man decides to change. Not because he is forced to, but because he sees, finally, the hollowness of waiting. Nandi's hands, once soft with idleness, bled from labor. But those cuts told a new kind of story, not of prophecy, but of progress. The boy who once chased clouds now planted seeds. He no longer waited for fate. He wielded it. True transformation doesn't come with fanfare. It creeps in, between one good deed and the next, between early mornings and late nights. Nandi was no longer an outsider dreaming of greatness. He had stepped inside the circle, earned a seat at the table. And though his cup held no wine of royalty, it overflowed with something rarer. Respect earned, not given. There is wisdom in realizing that power is not in being worshipped, but in being useful. In that quiet moment beneath the moon, Nandi shed the last skin of the boy who believed he was owed a kingdom. The stars above no longer mocked him. They bore witness to a man reborn, not by miracle, but by work. By waking up each day and choosing again and again to be better, to be present, to be enough. And so, at long last, a crown was placed upon Nandi's head, not by fate, not by divine winds, but by the very people he once longed to impress. And the irony, he no longer needed their praise, for his reward had already been earned in quiet moments, in rebuilt fences, in shared meals, in the steady heartbeat of a village stronger than it had ever been. So, remember Nandi's story. Don't sit back waiting for your crown to arrive. Don't wait for fate to hand you your future. You are the architect of your destiny. Work hard, take action, and most importantly, never stop building.